going on, everybody? Welcome back into Byler Studios. Now, I thought I would do a different type of intro video for this content. I haven't made a Tumblr in a while. Now, my boy James at work, he wants a Tumblr, and he's bought all sorts of Tumblrs in the past. And I was like, dude, let me hook you up with a new one. And I've been so busy, I felt bad that I haven't been able to give him one. So he actually ordered a 40-ounce beast of a Tumblr off of Amazon. I'll list that Tumblr in the Amazon affiliate list below in the description. However, we're going to turn this into an awesome piece of art. Now, the theme for this is going to be NFL football season, right? What team are we going to do? Carolina Panthers. Super excited for this, guys. Not only do I want to create an awesome Tumblr and art piece for my boy James, but also it has to be as awesome as the team is in real life. Now, it's going to be really cool. So the color combinations that we're going to keep in mind is silver, black, maybe a lot of blues, white, a lot of those Carolina themed Panther colors. So let's keep this into categories, bookmarks, or like steps along the way. We'll start off with an awesome epoxy swirl in the studio. We'll go ahead and give it a little bit of white base. So maybe we'll do like a teak wood grain along the way, as well as maybe like a half Hydrodip to give it a lot of veining and cool textures around the bottom of the cup. And then what I'll probably do is I'll probably have a custom maybe logo or maybe like a vinyl print or something created with maybe some AI software. And what I'll do is I'll soup that up after the fact with some hand-painted details, maybe some silvers or sterling silvers or gold embellishments. But the most important thing, guys, it has to be absolutely awesome. All right, you guys, so here's this awesome tumbler. Now, this thing is an absolute beast. It's a 40-ounce beast tumbler, stainless steel vacuum seal tumbler set. It has a lid and a straw, and it's absolutely awesome. And he was able to order this off of Amazon. So you can always go down in the description below. Now, normally I purchase hog tumblers, but he ordered this on his own just so he could get exactly what he wanted. And we're going to use this to create his awesome Panthers themed tumbler. So let's go ahead and get over to the workstation, and we're going to go ahead and get this unboxed. And let's start the process of creating an awesome piece of artwork. Let's get to it, guys. Alrighty, so we're going to jump in this project now. This is the 40-ounce beast tumbler. We're going to go and get it unboxed here. Just showcase what it looks like as we pull it out here. I'm very impressed with the overall packaging of this item. A lot of tumblers just have just a standard just cardboard box. This actually has a bag that it came in, like a pull string bag. So that's pretty cool. James did say that he wanted that bag back, and I was like, no, what? Of course, I'll give it back to you. Now, we've already beta coated this in a white spray paint. It's a standard white gloss, nothing special about it because it's just under everything else. Now, we're going to go ahead and begin mixing up our base coat of epoxy for the epoxy swirl portion of this creation. Now, we're going to be using Flynn's sister epoxy. I am affiliated with them, and you can find that information in the description below if you're looking for your own amazing epoxy. So we're going to mix up probably around 30 milliliters in total. So that's 15 of each A and B. And we're going to mix this up in this little medicine cup. Before we distribute it to the other medicine cups for the colors, we will put a slight film on the outside of the tumbler. This is going to allow those colors that we add to really move around and kind of shift, instead of them just getting stuck to the outside. Keep it slick so it moves around a little bit. Now, the colors that we're going to be using are a few mica powders as well as some inks. I will do my best just to kind of list those off as we get to them, but we are going to roll into this epoxy swirl, which is just absolute blast. Now, the mica colors that we're going to be using are a silver, also like a granite, dry granite gray, and then also kind of almost like a pearlescent ultramarine blue. Some of those don't really have names, they're just like generic baggies of just mica colors. We're going to roll in with a white as well as a blue, a glow-in-the-dark paint straight out of the tube, just to give a little bit of a tinge of glow and some color. And then we're going to roll in with some Tim Holtz alcohol ink, starting with slate. Then we'll go into some pitch black here. A little bit of ultramarine with that vibrant blue. Look how deep and great that looks. Then we're going with some glacier, which is a lighter color blue. It's a little bit more transparent. It's going to roll into those colors. Monsoon, very much dark. It's very dark compared to the other blues. And then we're going to go ahead and sporadically apply just a lot of those blues just to kind of give a good coverage. Sterling silver as well, which is a very powerful color, so don't overuse it if you're making something in your own overall design. And then, of course, we're going to start to apply our mica powder drizzle. Now you can apply this in a lot of different textures, and you can put different designs and patterns and all sorts of fun stuff on that if you would like to do that. But we're just going to go ahead and apply these just in a very random fashion. And if I feel like a particular area of the piece of art needs extra color, then that's just where I'll apply some extra color. But I do try to use as much of those colors in those little cups as possible. But sometimes if you mix too much, don't think that you have to apply everything that you create or you're mixing up. Just if you feel like it has enough color, then don't apply any more. Don't make sure you rein yourself in and don't make it too muddy. You want a nice dispersion of those colors to get a really cool swirl alcohol ink effect, right? So there's a lot of different patterns you can do when you're creating something like this, but it's just kind of fun to have fun and just be random with it. Of course, here it is under 3 different lights. Flash on the left, no light in the middle, and then of course flash off on the right. They look absolutely amazing, all of them. And of course, here it is under a ultra UV light. Very cool, right? Alrighty, so 48 hours later, after this is fully cured up, we have a nice, beautiful layer here. We did apply 1 extra layer of clear coat to this, and then that is allowing us to sand that layer down to get a nice smooth surface. Now, why do I need a smooth surface, you may ask? Well, that's because we're going to tape this off and we're going to do a wood grain ring effect around the top and the bottom. It's just going to be a really cool effect to dress up the overall design for James. I've been really wanting to do this for a while, and I just really haven't had an excuse to get around to it. So why not do it for this tumbler? Now we're going to be using the same white that we base coated the tumbler with, and that is a Rust-Oleum gloss. And we're just going to apply a little bit of that white to the taped off areas. So only 11 minutes later, I'm going to go ahead and pull that masking or painter's tape off, and we're going to be revealed some rings of white. We go ahead and apply a nice wood grain texture to that with the Tim Holtz alcohol inks in browns. You can get those in like 3-packs at like Michael's and off Amazon. No specific colors or anything like that. Just have fun with the overall browns that you can get in all of this alcohol ink colors. The more ink you apply, the darker it gets, and then of course you can use your brushes to apply different textures overall. Now we will be covering a little bit of that up throughout the process, so don't worry about that. We'll get to that here shortly. Now here's our ring effect. Of course, we can do a little bit of light sanding if we got any kind of bleeding underneath the painter's tape. But of course, that's just a little bit here and there, nothing specific. Now, I did pick up some really cool vinyl, and it's a premium vinyl from Cricut, and I got it from Michael's, and I was just very impressed with the overall color. I got it on 50% off clearance, which is pretty cool, and it has like a very it almost has like a leather texture to it. And you can almost see that in the light as it's cascading down onto the top of this tumbler here. Of course, we did a little bit of trim work, right? Right? Okay. A little bit of trim work is just naturally going to happen when you're making something like this. But as you can see, we have silver rings over those nice wood grains. We're also going to apply a nice medallion of that same vinyl to the very bottom just to dress it up a little bit. Looking pretty good, right? Now, of course, I did ask ChatGTP to make us an awesome NFL Panthers theme decal, and this is what it came out with. Pretty cool, right? So we're going to save this and upload it to Cricut, print it off here. Now, like in the past, instead of just hand painting everything, I did print that on a Waterslide. Now, originally I intended it to be a white backed Waterslide. Actually, because it was non-labeled, I actually printed it on some clear. And it makes the decals almost less noticeable. I don't really like that. I want them to be noticeable on the side of the item, even if you're halfway across the room, right? So we have to dress this up because it has a clear backer. It's not very opaque. It's not very thick. Now, one of the best ways to go ahead and thicken the overall design of the decal up, instead of just having to reprint it again on another Waterslide like white backer and wasting ink and materials, I can go ahead and hand paint it and add just an extra level of customization to the overall item. It makes it feel more in-depth, and it almost makes it feel like I hand painted the entire thing. Some of those brush strokes are visible. On the left-hand side, on the portrait mode, you can see I'm hand painting the overall blue back design out of a neon paint as well as a more opaque folk art turquoise. It doesn't look like a turquoise with that backing on there, but it is. It's like a light blue turquoise. We're also going over the fangs, the eyes, as well as the claws with that silver. And we'll also do a little bit of detail work with the pearl white. Now that is a folk art metallic pearl white, and it looks absolutely awesome. Don't say that it didn't bring that panther to life, because it did. It It looks absolutely awesome. Now we're going to do the same thing with another decal on the back of the item, and that is a decal that just says like a comic book version of Boom. Now, of course, ChatGTP also designed that one as well, and it was the same overall process, but I did a little bit more hand painting on that just to kind of dress it up, because again, it was too clear, it was too hidden to the background. So let's go ahead and shift gears and get out to the workshop, guys. All right, everybody. So as you can see, we are currently in the outdoor workshop slash shed, as it were, and we're going to go ahead and get ready to do the Hydrodip. Now, at the very beginning of this video, I said that I would like to introduce a Hydrodip into this Panthers Tumblr project for James. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, I don't want to go crazy with it to where we wash over all of the details that we put into this project so far. That including the actual silver medallion at the very bottom, the wood texture, as well as the wood rings and the silver around the top and the bottom. We also have that beautiful swirl background, which is going to peek through this Hydrodip. So the goal with this is we want the Hydrodip only to cover the very bottom of the tumbler. And it may cascade up to the sides where it kind of curves a little bit, but we don't want to cover up those decals that we also hand painted over. So we'll go ahead and get a little bit of spray paint, spray it painted into our water here. We'll get it layered up in a nice swirl fashion, but we don't want to make it super thick. This is going to be a very light, transparent layer. Now the colors that we're going to be hopefully introducing here, I really was tempted to introduce a little bit of a gold into this project. But because the Panthers really are leaning towards silvers and blacks and blues, we're going to go ahead and leave the gold out for today. I thought it would contrast really well against the overall blue background, but I really don't know how it's going to turn out. So what we'll do instead is we're going to continue with the overall silver theme that we have going so far, and we're going to be using a Rust-Oleum 2x metallic silver, just plain silver here. And we're also going to be using a little bit of, again, Rust-Oleum 2x white gloss, just a little bit. We really want the white to really shine through, and hopefully we get a little bit of veining with the silver as we introduce that onto the water itself. If we don't like how it looks on the water, then we're not going to like it when it's applied to the actual bottom of the tumbler itself. Remember, this is not about full coverage. This is about just getting a nice little film, wispy veining across the bottom of the tumbler. It's just going to add another layer of intricacy to the overall project. And again, we're here to have fun, enjoy the project that we're creating. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring you in here. We're going to spray paint some layers over the water here, get it to how we like it, and then we'll dip the bottom of the tumbler into that spray paint, and then we'll let it cure up for around 24 hours or so before we start to apply any of the clear coats to finalize this project. So let's go ahead and get to it, guys. All right, you see how very wispy that is? It's very, very clear. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and dip our tumbler in here. And then we're only going to take it as far as we would like to. Then we're just going to bring it out here. Okay? Now, if I don't like any of the particular areas of the spray paint, I can always just sand that off. Remember, we have a sanded, smooth surface here. This isn't actually the vibrancy of what it will be like when it's all said and done. So we're just going to go ahead and dip it in here. And it covered a lot of that up, as you can see. But we can always repair and bring some of that to the surface. Got a little bit of overlaying there. Let's just push that around there. I don't like it, I can just remove it. Got a really nice hard edge there. I don't like that. I'm going to just take my finger. I'm going to wipe that away. Very hard edges right there. I don't like those hard edges. Let's feather that a little bit. There we go. See how wisping right there? That down. Get rid of some of this down here, but not a whole lot. You know, it's still gotta be there. That's cool right there. I like that. See how there's like an opening there? There we go. I like that. See how the silver's still there? I'm liking that. Yeah, I should have taped that off. I really do like how that looks. Sometimes you just don't know how you like it until you get to looking at it, you know? I like that. See, the whole goal is that this white and silver veining over this surface is going to make that blue behind it pop even more. Otherwise, it's just all blue, and it's just like, it's great. It looks okay, but like, man, having that pop in front of it is just going to be next level. Alright guys, so the very final step is just to be patient and wait for the overall spray paint Hydrodip to dry out. Once it's dried out and we like the overall design without having to do any extra sanding work, we're going to start with the last epoxy layers. Now these are the show epoxy layers. So as we roll into this, I'm going to go ahead and mix up my epoxy here, and we're going to go ahead and apply this to the outside of the tumbler. Now remember, we have a sanded base coat over the original swirl design. So as we apply this epoxy here, right now you can see it's bringing the vibrancy of those base layers to life because it's clearing up that epoxy layer. Look how absolute incredible that base coat looks through all of these cool layers. It looks absolutely awesome. So let's go ahead and speed through this, guys, and then we'll see what it looks like all finished up. Alright guys, so just like that, this awesome NFL Panthers themed tumbler is completely finished out. Now as you can see here in these glamour shots, the actual wood teak rings with the silver vinyl really turned out great. And of course we have those hand detailed water slides on both the front and the back, including the Panther decal as well as the Boom comic book style decal on the other side. And of course, those were made and created by ChatGPT, and of course, we dressed them up with some hand painting as well. We also did that Hydrodip with just the white spray paint with a little bit of silverish in there, and it looks really great overall. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this overall content video. I haven't made a Tumblr in a while, and it was just really good to get some epoxy out from Flynn's sister and just have some fun creating a cool multi-dimensional piece of artwork in Tumblr. Now this isn't the only Panther themed art that I have created. I also created an actual acrylic painting in 2024 for James as well. And it was just a cool abstract version of a blue kind of gold tinged panther on a canvas. And that was pretty cool, and you can find that on my YouTube channel. It is out there also. Now, of course, this is 2025, and this tumbler was a blast to create. And I've already given this to James as well for the season, so he can sit back and enjoy, and also show off his tumbler to his friends and family as they're watching football games, which is pretty cool. As always, guys, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next awesome art project here in Firely Studios. Later, guys.